Welcome to Sleepy History Lens. Take a deep breath, get comfortable, and leave today's worries behind. Tonight, we'll journey through forgotten moments in history, peaceful landscapes, and timeless stories, all told with a calm voice to help you relax, unwind, and drift into a restful sleep. Now dim the lights, close your eyes, and let history guide your dreams. Let's begin.
Tonight, there is nowhere you need to go. No appointments waiting, no clocks to follow, no busy streets. Only the peaceful rhythm of rain falling across a quiet American countryside. As you settle into a comfortable place, allow your shoulders to relax. Take a slow breath in and gently let it go. Imagine that every breath carries away another small worry. Now picture a landscape far from crowded cities. Rolling green hills stretch beneath soft grey clouds. Old maple trees stand patiently beside winding country roads. Their leaves, painted in shades of amber, crimson, and gold, sway gently in the cool autumn breeze. A light rain has been falling since dawn. Not a storm, not a heavy downpour, just a calm, steady rain that seems to wrap the entire countryside in a blanket of peace. Every rooftop glistens. Every wooden fence shines with tiny drops of water. The fields seem greener than ever before. The air smells of wet earth, fresh pine, and fallen leaves. This quiet little place is called Willow Creek. Very few travelers ever find it. Those who do rarely forget it. Because time moves differently here. People wave to strangers. Neighbors still bake pies for one another. Children grow up chasing butterflies instead of traffic. And when it rains, life simply slows down. No one complains. Instead, they listen to the rain, to the birds, to the whispering wind moving gently through the old oak trees. Tonight, you are one of the visitors. Welcome to Willow Creek. A narrow country road slowly winds through the valley. Its surface is damp from the gentle rain. Tiny puddles reflect the cloudy sky like little mirrors. Wildflowers lean quietly beside weathered wooden fences. Far away, an old red barn stands alone against the mist. Its paint has faded through decades of rain, snow, sunshine, and seasons. Yet it remains beautiful, strong, patient, just like the people who built it long ago. Telephone poles follow the road into the distance. Their wires hum softly in the cool autumn air. Somewhere nearby, a small creek flows beneath a wooden bridge. Rain creates tiny circles across its peaceful surface. A family of ducks glides slowly through the water. They seem to know there is nowhere they need to hurry. Even the wind moves gently today. Every sound feels softer beneath the falling rain. At the end of the quiet road sits a white farmhouse. It has stood there for almost 100 years. Its wooden porch wraps around the front of the house. 2 rocking chairs face the fields. A brass lantern hangs beside the front door. Flower boxes overflow with late autumn chrysanthemums. Rainwater drips steadily from the roof. Tiny streams travel along old wooden steps before disappearing into the soft earth below. The windows glow with warm golden light. Inside, everything feels safe. A grandfather clock quietly marks each passing minute. An old bookshelf holds dozens of well-loved novels. Handmade quilts rest neatly across comfortable chairs. Every corner of the house tells a story. Every photograph remembers another generation. Nothing is modern. Nothing needs to be, because comfort never grows old. Inside the kitchen, the smell of freshly baked bread fills the air. A cast-iron stove radiates gentle warmth. Copper pots hang above a sturdy wooden table. A kettle begins to whistle softly. Emily Carter smiles as she pours hot coffee into her favorite ceramic mug. Steam rises slowly toward the ceiling. She opens the kitchen window just enough to hear the rain. The cool autumn breeze carries the scent of pine trees and wet leaves. She closes her eyes for a moment, listening, just listening. Some people listen to music. Emily listens to rain. It has always been her favorite sound. Since childhood, rain has meant comfort. Rain has meant home. Rain has meant slowing down.
Coffee in hand, Emily steps onto the porch. The wooden floor creaks gently beneath her boots. The rain falls in tiny silver threads across the fields. Every blade of grass sparkles with fresh water. Beyond the pasture, low clouds slowly drift over distant hills. An old oak tree spreads its enormous branches across the edge of the property. Its leaves flutter softly in the breeze. A pair of bluebirds rest quietly beneath the shelter of the branches. The only sounds are rain, birdsong, wind, and somewhere far away, the faint whistle of an old freight train crossing another valley. Emily smiles. She has heard that whistle nearly every rainy morning for 20 years. It always reminds her that somewhere beyond the hills, life moves quickly. But here, life moves exactly as it should.
Emily finishes the last sip of her warm coffee and places the empty mug beside the front door. She pulls on her light brown raincoat. The hood rests gently over her hair. With a woven basket in one hand and an old lantern in the other, she steps off the porch. The rain continues its gentle song. Each raindrop lands softly upon the wide brim of her hat. The gravel path glistens beneath her boots. Tiny puddles reflect the cloudy morning sky. Wild rabbits quietly disappear beneath the bushes as she walks by. The air feels fresh and wonderfully cool. Every breath carries the scent of cedar wood, wet leaves, fresh hay, and the rich soil that has nourished this land for generations. Emily never rushes across the farm. She believes every morning deserves to be noticed. Every flower, every bird, every gentle breeze. Even the smallest moments become beautiful when someone takes the time to see them. The large wooden barn stands quietly at the edge of the pasture. Its weathered red paint has faded over many decades. Emily slides open the heavy barn door. The familiar scent of fresh hay welcomes her inside. Warm golden lanterns softly illuminate the wooden beams overhead. The sound of rain becomes quieter beneath the sturdy roof. Old Charlie, the gentle chestnut horse, raises his head and greets Emily with a soft nicker. Lucy, the dairy cow, calmly chews fresh hay. 3 playful goats wander curiously between the wooden stalls. Near the doorway, a sleepy golden retriever slowly stretches before wagging his tail. His name is Cooper. He has greeted Emily every morning for nearly 10 years. Emily gently scratches behind his ears. Cooper closes his eyes with quiet happiness. Sometimes the simplest moments are the most comforting. Emily moves slowly from stall to stall. She fills each feeding bucket with fresh grain. Charlie patiently waits. Lucy watches quietly with kind brown eyes. The tiny goats eagerly gather around, their tiny hooves tapping softly across the wooden floor. Cooper follows Emily everywhere she goes. Outside, rain continues falling on the roof. Its gentle rhythm fills the barn like peaceful music. Nothing feels hurried, nothing feels stressful. Only quiet routines repeated day after day, season after season, year after year. Emily believes animals understand something people often forget. Life does not always need excitement. Sometimes peace is enough. Leaving the barn, Emily walks towards the cornfields. The rows stretch across the rolling hills like neat golden ribbons. Tiny drops of rain cling to every leaf. The breeze gently moves through the tall corn. Together they create a soft whispering sound, almost like waves upon a quiet sea. Beyond the fields, an old windmill slowly turns. Its wooden blades creak gently in the cool autumn air. A flock of blackbirds circles above before settling on a nearby fence. The landscape feels endless. Open skies, fresh air, simple beauty. Emily pauses for a moment. She closes her eyes. The world feels wonderfully quiet.
A narrow footpath leads towards Willow Creek itself. An old wooden bridge crosses the gently flowing water. The creek is crystal clear. Smooth stones rest beneath the surface. Tiny fish swim lazily between them. Rain creates countless tiny circles across the water. Emily leans lightly against the wooden railing. She watches bright red maple leaves drift downstream. Each leaf slowly disappears around the bend. She smiles. The creek has carried autumn leaves for longer than anyone can remember. Every year, the same quiet journey. Yet every year, it somehow feels new again. A few minutes later, Emily reaches the center of Willow Creek. The village is small enough that nearly everyone knows each other. A white church stands on a gentle hill. Its bell tower rises above the maple trees. Across the street sits the general store. Fresh flowers decorate its front porch. The bakery next door fills the cool air with the comforting aroma of warm apple pie and cinnamon rolls. Rain continues to fall softly. Shopkeepers sweep their porches, even though more rain is sure to come. Neighbors stop to chat under colorful umbrellas. Nobody seems impatient. Conversations unfold slowly. Smiles come easily. The village feels less like a place and more like a family. The little brass bell above the store door rings softly as Emily steps inside. The room is warm. Wooden shelves stretch from floor to ceiling. Glass jars are filled with colorful candies. Fresh apples sit neatly in woven baskets. Homemade jams line one wall. Local honey glows like liquid amber in glass bottles. An old radio quietly plays gentle country music from decades ago. Mr. Harris looks up from behind the counter. "Good morning, Emily." His warm smile feels as familiar as the rain outside. For a while, no one speaks very much. They simply enjoy the peaceful sound of rain tapping against the windows. Sometimes, the nicest conversations begin with comfortable silence. And in Willow Creek, silence is never lonely. It is simply another way of feeling at home.
When Emily leaves the general store, the rain has become even softer. Tiny drops drift through the cool afternoon air like silver threads. Just across the street stands Willow Creek Bakery. Its brick chimney releases a thin ribbon of white smoke into the grey autumn sky. As Emily opens the wooden door, A small brass bell rings gently. The warmth inside feels like a comforting embrace. The sweet aroma of freshly baked apple pie, cinnamon bread, buttery biscuits, and warm vanilla fills every corner of the room. Behind the counter, Mrs. Eleanor Brooks carefully places fresh loaves of bread onto wooden shelves. She has baked bread here every morning for more than 40 years. The recipe came from her grandmother, and her grandmother learned it from hers. Some traditions never need changing. Emily buys a loaf of country bread and a small apple pie. Mrs. Brooks wraps them carefully in brown paper and ties them with a simple piece of twine. Outside, the rain continues its peaceful melody. Only a short walk away stands Willow Creek's tiny public library. It is one of the oldest buildings in the village. Its red brick walls have watched generations grow up. Rain softly taps against the tall windows. Inside, rows of wooden bookshelves stretch toward the ceiling. The scent of old books mixes with polished oak and the faint fragrance of dried lavender. Emily quietly walks between the shelves. She gently runs her fingers across the worn spines of classic novels. Many books have tiny handwritten notes inside their covers. Names, dates, little messages left by readers from decades ago. Each book carries not only a story, but memories of the people who once held it. Emily chooses a collection of gentle nature essays and thanks the elderly librarian with a warm smile. The library is so quiet that even turning a page sounds peaceful. The rain follows Emily as she walks toward the white church overlooking Willow Creek. Its tall steeple disappears into the mist. The old wooden doors stand slightly open. Inside, colored stained glass windows softly glow despite the cloudy sky. Long wooden pews rest in perfect silence. Candles flicker gently near the front of the sanctuary. Emily sits quietly for a few moments. She doesn't speak. She doesn't pray with words. She simply listens. Rain touches the roof like thousands of gentle fingertips. The peaceful sound fills the quiet room. Sometimes the greatest comfort comes not from speaking, but from listening.
As afternoon slowly becomes evening, Willow Creek begins to glow. Old-fashioned street lamps flicker to life one by one. Golden reflections shimmer across the rain-soaked streets. Shop windows glow warmly against the cool gray sky. The bakery closes for the day. The general store turns its sign to closed. A bicycle rests quietly beside a white picket fence. Smoke rises lazily from stone chimneys. Families begin preparing supper. The entire village seems wrapped inside a warm blanket of light and rain. No loud engines, no crowded sidewalks. Only peaceful evenings that arrive exactly as they always have. Emily walks back along the familiar country road. Cooper, her faithful golden retriever, happily trots beside her. The rain has become a soft mist. The fields rest quietly beneath the fading light. Fireflies begin appearing above the tall grass. One by one, tiny golden lights dance through the evening air. Far away, an owl calls from the forest. The gentle sound echoes across the valley. Emily smiles. There is something magical about returning home after a peaceful day, especially on a rainy evening. Back inside the farmhouse,
Emily hangs her raincoat near the front door. She lights the stone fireplace. Golden flames slowly begin to dance. The room fills with gentle warmth. Cooper curls up on a thick woven rug. The old grandfather clock quietly ticks in the corner. Rain continues tapping against the windows. Emily slices fresh bread from the bakery. She pours a bowl of warm vegetable soup. Nothing fancy, just simple food made with care. Outside, the countryside grows darker. Inside, everything feels wonderfully calm. The evening slowly settles over Willow Creek. Clouds drift gently across the moon. Rain continues falling with quiet patience. The fields rest peacefully. The creek flows softly through the valley. The old red barn stands silently beneath the mist. Every home glows with warm light. Every family enjoys the comfort of another peaceful night. Emily sits beside the window with her book unopened. She doesn't feel the need to read. Tonight, watching the rain is story enough. The sound of each raindrop seems to whisper the same gentle message. Slow down. Rest. Tomorrow will arrive in its own time. And now, the village has become completely quiet. The rain continues its endless lullaby. Somewhere beyond the hills, morning will come again. The bakery will fill with the scent of fresh bread. The church bell will greet another peaceful day. Charlie will wait patiently inside the barn. Cooper will wag his tail at the front door. And Emily will once again pause to listen to the gentle rain. But those are stories for another evening. For now, allow your breathing to become slow and easy. Feel the comfort of the warm farmhouse. Listen to the peaceful rhythm of the rain. Imagine the quiet fields, the glowing windows, the winding country roads, and the little village of Willow Creek resting peacefully beneath the autumn sky. May the gentle rain carry every busy thought away. May the quiet countryside fill your dreams with warmth, comfort, and peace. Good night, and welcome to the calm heart of Willow Creek.
The rain that gently sang through the night has finally quieted. Only a light mist now drifts across the peaceful valley of Willow Creek. The first light of dawn slowly brightens the eastern sky. Soft shades of pale blue and gentle silver spread across the rolling hills. The fields sparkle with countless tiny drops of dew. Every blade of grass catches the morning light like a tiny crystal. The countryside feels fresh, clean, peaceful. Somewhere in the distance, a rooster announces the arrival of another gentle day. The familiar sound echoes softly across the quiet valley. Nothing rushes this morning. The world seems happy to wake slowly, just as nature intended. Take another slow breath. Imagine the cool morning air filling your lungs. Smell the fresh earth after yesterday's rain. Hear the distant birds greeting the sunrise. Once again, you have arrived in Willow Creek. Emily Carter opens her bedroom window. The cool morning breeze quietly enters the farmhouse. The air smells of wet pine, fresh hay, and warm earth. She smiles. Yesterday's rain has left everything shining. Outside, the old maple tree gently releases a few golden leaves. They drift slowly to the ground like tiny feathers. On the porch, Cooper, the faithful golden retriever, stretches lazily before wagging his tail. He knows another peaceful farm day is beginning.
Across the pasture, Charlie, the horse, stands quietly beside the fence. Lucy, the gentle cow, grazes peacefully beneath the soft morning light. The goats wander curiously among the wildflowers. No loud noises, no hurry, only another beautiful beginning. The farmhouse kitchen is warm once again. A cast-iron kettle gently whistles upon the old stove. Fresh coffee fills the room with its comforting aroma. Emily sliced yesterday's country bread. She spreads homemade blackberry jam across each piece. Beside the plate rests a small jar of local honey collected from nearby beehives. Outside the kitchen window, tiny sparrows hop through the garden searching for seeds. A pair of cardinals perch quietly upon the wooden fence. Emily watches them while enjoying her simple breakfast. She believes every peaceful morning deserves a few quiet moments before the work of the day begins. Some mornings, the greatest luxury is simply having enough time to watch the birds. After breakfast, Emily and Cooper begin their usual morning walk. They follow a narrow trail leading towards Willow Creek. Mist still floats gently above the water. Spider webs stretched between wild grasses sparkle with tiny droplets of dew. Everywhere, the countryside feels peaceful. An old wooden fence disappears into the morning fog. The distant hills seem softer beneath the pale sunlight. A family of deer quietly crosses the meadow before disappearing into the forest. Emily stops for a moment. She simply watches. There is no need for words. Nature speaks perfectly well on its own. Their walk brings them to one of Willow Creek's oldest landmarks, a beautiful wooden-covered bridge. It was built more than a century ago. Generations of farmers, children, travelers, and families have crossed this bridge. The wood has become smooth with age. Morning mist slowly drifts beneath it. The creek flows quietly below. Tiny trout swim through the crystal-clear water. Emily rests her hand against the weathered wooden railing. She imagines all the stories this old bridge could tell. Every season has passed here. Every sunrise, every rainfall, every snowfall. Still, the bridge remains. Patient, strong, quiet. The morning mist slowly begins to lift as Emily and Cooper make their way towards the edge of the village. There, nestled beside a grove of tall maple trees, stands the tiny Willow Creek train station. It is a small wooden building with white painted walls and a dark green roof. A vintage clock hangs beneath the station canopy. Its hands move quietly, almost unnoticed. A few wooden benches line the platform. Fresh rainwater still glistens on their polished surfaces. There are only a handful of passengers this morning. An elderly couple sits together, sharing a warm blanket. A young father points towards the distant tracks while his little daughter watches with wide, curious eyes. Everyone speaks softly. No one seems to be in a hurry. The station feels less like a place of departure and more like a place where time itself slows down. Far in the distance, a gentle whistle echoes across the valley. Moments later, a beautiful black steam locomotive appears through the morning mist. White steam rises gracefully into the cool air. The polished brass bell shines in the early sunlight. The train slows gently as it approaches the platform. Its wheels click softly along the rails. The conductor steps onto the platform with a friendly smile and tips his cap to each passenger. Emily climbs aboard one of the old wooden coaches. Cooper curls comfortably at her feet. The carriage smells faintly of polished oak, leather seats, and fresh pine carried in through the open windows. The journey begins, not quickly, but gently, exactly the way every journey should begin. The train rolls slowly through the countryside. Outside the window, rolling hills stretch endlessly beneath the brightening sky. Golden cornfields ripple gently in the breeze. Red barns stand proudly beside weathered white fences. Small creeks sparkle beneath old stone bridges. Cows graze peacefully across open meadows. Occasionally, the train passes a lonely farmhouse with smoke curling gently from its chimney. Emily watches everything in quiet admiration. There is no need to rush through beautiful places. The train seems to understand this. It moves at the perfect pace for watching the world unfold. Every mile reveals another peaceful scene. Every curve in the tracks offers another beautiful view. After a short journey, Emily steps off at a tiny countryside stop. A narrow walking path leads towards an old wooden watermill. The mill has stood beside the creek for nearly 150 years. Its great wooden wheel turns slowly as clear water flows beneath it. Wild flowers bloom along the riverbank. Dragonflies hover above the water. A pair of swans glides peacefully across the nearby pond. Emily sits quietly on a weathered wooden bench. She listens. The water, the breeze, the turning wheel. Nature creates a melody more peaceful than any orchestra. Beyond the watermill lies a quiet grove of towering sugar maple trees. Golden leaves drift gently through the air. Sunlight filters softly between the branches. The forest floor is covered with a blanket of orange, red, and golden leaves. Emily walks slowly beneath the trees. Every few moments she pauses simply to listen. A squirrel gathers acorns under an ancient oak. Blue jays call from high above. Somewhere deeper in the forest, a woodpecker gently taps against an old tree. The peaceful sounds seem to echo forever. The maple grove feels almost timeless, a place where every season quietly leaves behind another beautiful memory. At the edge of the grove stands the Thompson family's maple farm. Their small wooden cabin overlooks hundreds of maple trees. Although syrup season comes in spring, the family spends autumn preparing every tool with great care. Bundles of neatly stacked firewood rest beside the porch. Old metal sap buckets hang inside the barn. Mr. Thompson welcomes Emily with a warm smile. His wife pours fresh apple cider into simple stone mugs. Their grandchildren laugh quietly while gathering colorful leaves into woven baskets. The cabin is filled with warmth, not only from the fireplace, but from the kindness shared by everyone inside. Emily stays for a while, enjoying the peaceful conversation. There is no rush to leave. Time feels wonderfully unimportant here. As the afternoon sun begins its slow journey toward the western hills, Emily thanks the Thompson family and begins walking back toward Willow Creek. Cooper happily trots beside her, occasionally stopping to sniff the damp grass. The air is calm. The breeze is gentle. The distant whistle of the steam train echoes once more across the valley before fading into silence.
Emily smiles. Some journeys are remembered not because they are exciting, but because they are peaceful. She knows that tonight, as rain clouds gather once again above Willow Creek, the village will welcome another quiet evening, and another story will begin.
As Emily and Cooper continue their walk toward home, the sky slowly changes. The golden afternoon light fades behind a blanket of soft gray clouds. A cool breeze gently moves through the maple trees. The leaves whisper quietly above the winding country road. One tiny raindrop lands on Emily's sleeve, then another and another. Within a few moments, a light autumn rain begins to fall once again. No thunder, no strong wind, only a peaceful shower, gentle enough that the birds continue singing. Emily opens her umbrella. Cooper happily trots beside her, his golden fur sparkling with tiny drops of rain. The countryside seems even more beautiful than before. The rain gives every color a deeper richness. The fields glow with fresh green. The red barns appear warmer. The maple leaves shine like polished amber. Sometimes rain doesn't hide beauty, it reveals it. By the time Emily reaches Willow Creek, the village is quietly preparing for its annual harvest supper. Warm lanterns hang from the porches of every home. Neighbors carry baskets filled with fresh vegetables. Children carefully deliver homemade pies to the community hall. The smell of roasted pumpkins, fresh bread, apple pie, and cinnamon slowly fills the cool evening air. No one rushes, everyone smiles. The supper is not simply a meal, it is a tradition, one that has brought the village together for generations. Every family contributes something. Some bring soup, others bake bread. Some prepare fresh vegetables from their gardens. Every dish tells a story. Every recipe carries a memory. The old community hall is warm and welcoming. Long wooden tables stretch across the room. Handmade quilts decorate the walls. Fresh flowers sit in simple glass jars. Lanterns cast a soft golden glow over smiling faces. Outside, rain taps gently against the tall windows. Inside, quiet conversations fill the room. Children laugh softly. Grandparents tell gentle stories from long ago. The scent of warm vegetable soup mixes with freshly baked bread. Emily takes her place among friends she has known since childhood. Nobody checks a phone, nobody watches a clock. For one peaceful evening, everyone is simply present. After supper, the room grows quieter. The dishes have been cleared away. A single lantern burns brightly near the fireplace. Mr. Harris, the owner of the general store, begins telling stories from his childhood. He speaks about snowy winters, summer fishing trips, and the first train that ever arrived in Willow Creek. His calm voice rises and falls gently. No one interrupts. The younger children listen with wide eyes. Outside, the rain continues its peaceful rhythm. Every now and then, the fire crackles softly. The combination of rain, warm light, and familiar voices makes the evening feel wonderfully timeless. Later that evening, Emily and Cooper begin the short walk home. The rain has become a soft mist once again. The village streets are quiet. Old-fashioned street lamps reflect upon the wet pavement.
Each glowing light stretches across the road like golden ribbons. The church bell quietly marks the hour. A pair of rabbits darts across a nearby field. Somewhere beyond the trees, an owl softly calls into the night. Emily pauses for just a moment. She looks back toward the village. The warm lights shining through rain-covered windows remind her that every home holds its own quiet story. Back at the farmhouse, Emily lights a small oil lamp beside her favorite chair. Cooper curls up by the fireplace and quickly falls asleep. Outside, the gentle rain continues to fall across the fields, the creek, and the quiet village beyond. The old grandfather clock softly ticks. The fire glows warmly. Emily opens the nature book she borrowed from the library. She reads only a few pages before setting it gently aside. Tonight, the rain tells a better story than any book ever could. She closes her eyes for a moment and simply listens to the rain, to the wind, to the peaceful silence of Willow Creek. And as the evening slowly drifts into night, so do your thoughts. May the quiet countryside, the warm lights, the gentle rain, and the timeless beauty of Willow Creek carry you softly into a restful sleep. Good night, and until tomorrow, the peaceful little village will be waiting.
The night rain has quietly passed. Only a cool morning breeze remains, carrying the fresh scent of pine, damp earth, and fallen maple leaves. As the first rays of sunlight appear beyond the eastern hills, Willow Creek slowly begins to awaken. A thin layer of mist rests over the meadows like a soft white blanket. Tiny drops of dew sparkle on every blade of grass. The creek moves peacefully through the valley, reflecting the pale golden sky. Somewhere nearby, a robin begins its cheerful morning song. Soon another answers from the branches of an old oak tree. The village is still wonderfully quiet. Most windows remain dark. The bakery has not yet opened. The church bell has not yet rung. For a few precious moments, it feels as though the whole countryside belongs only to the gentle sounds of nature. Take a slow breath. Imagine the crisp autumn air filling your lungs. Feel the calm that comes with a brand new morning. In Willow Creek, every sunrise feels like a small gift. Inside the farmhouse, Emily prepares for another peaceful day. She places a freshly baked loaf of bread into a woven basket. Next come bright red apples from her orchard, a small jar of golden honey, fresh eggs gathered just after sunrise, and a bouquet of wildflowers tied together with a simple blue ribbon. Today is market day in Willow Creek. It is not a busy market. There are no loud crowds or flashing signs, only local farmers, neighbors, friends, and handmade goods created with care. Emily places the basket beside the front door. Cooper waits patiently, his tail gently brushing across the wooden floor. He already knows where they are going. Rather than taking the main road into the village, Emily chooses the old mill road. It is a narrow gravel path lined with towering maple and birch trees. The road follows Willow Creek for nearly 2 miles. Every autumn it becomes one of the most beautiful places in the valley. Golden leaves drift slowly from the branches. Some land upon the quiet water. Others settle gently along the roadside. The only sounds are the soft crunch of gravel beneath Emily's boots, the cheerful chirping of birds, and the gentle flow of the creek. As they walk, Cooper occasionally pauses to watch butterflies dancing among the wildflowers. Emily smiles. She has walked this road since she was a little girl. Every bend in the path feels familiar. Every tree feels like an old friend. Halfway along the road stands an old stone flour mill. It is not operated for many years. Its great wooden water wheel no longer turns, yet the building remains beautiful. Wild ivy climbs gently across its stone walls. Bright orange pumpkins rest beside the weathered entrance. Small birds have built nests beneath the wooden roof. Emily steps inside for a moment. Dusty sunlight streams through tall windows. The wooden beams still stand strong after more than a century. Old grain sacks remain neatly stacked in one corner. Everything is peaceful. It feels less like an abandoned building and more like a place quietly keeping the memories of another time. Emily gently places her hand upon the smooth wooden railing. She imagines the laughter, the conversations, and the busy harvest seasons that once filled these rooms. Some places never truly become empty. They simply grow quieter. Beyond the old mill, the road opens into a wide meadow. Autumn wildflowers still bloom beside tall golden grasses. Blue asters, purple goldenrod, white daisies, their colors brighten the peaceful landscape. A gentle breeze moves across the field like invisible waves. Hundreds of tiny butterflies flutter quietly from flower to flower. Far above, a red-tailed hawk circles gracefully through the clear morning sky. Emily sits on a weathered wooden bench overlooking the meadow. Cooper lies beside her. For several long moments, neither of them moves. There is nothing to accomplish, nothing to hurry toward. Only the quiet joy of watching nature wake beneath the autumn sun. The world feels wonderfully simple, and in that simplicity there is perfect peace. By the time Emily reaches the village square, the little farmer's market is quietly coming to life. White canvas tents stand neatly beneath rows of brilliant maple trees. The ground is still slightly damp from yesterday's rain. Tiny drops of water sparkle on pumpkins, apples, and fresh vegetables arranged in wooden baskets. The market is never crowded. Only local families gather here. Neighbors greet one another with warm smiles. An elderly farmer carefully arranges bright orange pumpkins beside jars of homemade jam. A young couple displays fresh bouquets of sunflowers and wildflowers. Nearby, baskets overflow with crisp apples, pears, squash, and freshly picked corn. There are no loud announcements, no hurried footsteps, only gentle conversations carried softly by the cool autumn breeze. Emily places her basket on a small wooden table. Soon, familiar faces stop to say hello. Every greeting feels genuine. Every smile feels like home. Across the village square stands one of Willow Creek's oldest shops. A small wooden sign reads, "Benjamin Cole, clockmaker since 1952. Emily gently opens the door. A tiny brass bell rings above her. Inside, the room is wonderfully quiet. Shelves are filled with antique clocks of every shape and size. Tall grandfather clocks, small mantel clocks, elegant pocket watches. Their gentle ticking fills the workshop like a peaceful melody. Mr. Benjamin Cole sits at his wooden workbench beneath a bright reading lamp. With steady hands, he carefully repairs the tiny gears inside a 100-year-old clock. He smiles kindly as Emily enters. "Every clock tells time," he says softly, "but the old ones also tell stories." Emily nods. She has always loved visiting this little shop. Here, even time seems to move more slowly. In the center of the village park stands a beautiful white wooden gazebo. Several local musicians have gathered there this morning. One plays a gentle acoustic guitar, another softly picks a banjo, a third quietly plays the fiddle. Their melodies drift through the cool autumn air. Nothing is loud, nothing demands attention. The music simply becomes part of the village. Children quietly chase falling leaves across the grass. Parents sit together on nearby benches. Birds continue singing from the maple branches overhead. Even the breeze seems to move in rhythm with the gentle music. Emily closes her eyes for a moment, listening. The music, the birds, the rustling leaves, all become one peaceful harmony. Near the end of the market stands a small wooden cottage. Inside works Mrs. Margaret Dawson. She has spent nearly 50 years sewing beautiful handmade quilts. Each quilt tells a different story. Some are inspired by snowy winters, others by spring flowers. Many celebrate autumn harvests beneath golden maple trees. Emily gently runs her fingers across the colorful fabric. Every stitch has been sewn by hand. Thousands upon thousands of careful stitches. Mrs. Dawson smiles. A quilt, she says softly, is simply another way of wrapping someone in love. Emily smiles back. She couldn't imagine a better description. As the market slowly quiets, Emily and Cooper walk toward Willow Creek. They find their favorite place beneath an old willow tree. Emily unwraps a simple lunch. Fresh bread, sharp cheddar cheese, crisp apples, and warm apple cider poured into a small thermos. The creek flows gently beside them. A pair of ducks glide silently across the water. Dragonflies skim the surface like tiny blue jewels. Golden leaves drift slowly downstream. Cooper rests peacefully beside Emily. Neither of them feels the need to hurry. Lunch becomes more than a meal. It becomes another quiet moment to appreciate the simple beauty surrounding them. On their way back through the village, Emily notices the antique bookshop still open. She steps inside. The shelves are lined with leather-bound classics, poetry collections, old travel journals, and beautifully illustrated nature books. A wooden ladder rests against the tallest shelf. Soft afternoon light filters through lace curtains. The shop owner carefully dusts the books while humming an old folk tune. Emily finds a weathered journal describing life in rural America nearly a century ago. Its pages are yellow with age. Its words speak of harvests, family gatherings, snowy winters, and peaceful evenings beside the fire. Emily smiles. Some stories never grow old, because kindness, community, and quiet moments never go out of style. The afternoon slowly begins to fade. Long golden rays of sunlight stretch across the village. The farmers begin packing away their baskets. Children wave goodbye to one another. The musicians gently finish their final song beneath the gazebo. Emily and Cooper begin the familiar walk back toward the farmhouse. The cool autumn breeze carries the scent of pine forests and distant fireplaces. Above the rolling hills, soft grey clouds begin gathering once more. Perhaps another gentle rain will visit Willow Creek before nightfall. Emily smiles. Rain always seems to find its way home, and somehow, so does peace. As Emily and Cooper leave the village behind, the first gentle drops of rain begin to fall once again. The sky turns a soft shade of silver. Clouds drift quietly above the rolling hills. The cool autumn breeze carries the comforting scent of rain across the valley. The gravel road becomes darker as tiny drops land upon its surface.
Golden maple leaves slowly float through the air, landing gently beside the path. Emily opens her old umbrella. Cooper walks happily beside her, occasionally stopping to watch the rain create tiny circles in the puddles. There is no thunder, no lightning, only the peaceful rhythm of another autumn shower. The countryside seems to breathe more slowly beneath the rain. Every tree, every field, every fence appears calmer than before. Sometimes the quietest rain brings the deepest peace. A short distance from the farmhouse lies the Carter family orchard. Rows of old apple trees stretch gently across the hillside. Many of them were planted by Emily's grandfather many decades ago. Rainwater slowly rolls down the bright red apples still hanging from the branches. The orchard smells wonderfully fresh. Emily carefully picks one apple and polishes it with her sleeve. She takes a small bite. Sweet, crisp, refreshing. Cooper patiently waits beneath the tree, hoping another apple might gently fall. A few robins hop across the damp grass. Somewhere high above, a bluebird sings through the rain. The orchard has witnessed countless autumns. Every harvest has been different, yet every year has offered its own quiet blessings. By early evening, the farmhouse windows glow warmly against the rainy sky. Inside, the kitchen is filled with comforting aromas. A pot of homemade vegetable soup gently simmers on the stove. Fresh bread rests beneath a linen cloth. A warm apple pie cools on the windowsill. Emily lights several small candles around the room. Their soft golden light dances across the wooden walls. Outside, rain taps quietly against the glass. Inside, everything feels warm, safe, peaceful.
After supper, Emily opens a small cedar chest that belonged to her grandmother. Inside are carefully tied bundles of old letters. The paper has turned slightly golden with age. Each envelope is neatly addressed in elegant handwriting. Emily slowly unfolds one letter. It tells the story of a rainy harvest day many years ago. Neighbors helping one another, children laughing beneath umbrellas, fresh bread shared between families. The words are simple, yet they carry warmth that has never faded. Emily smiles softly. Some treasures are not made of gold, some are made of memories. She carefully folds the letter once more and places it back inside the chest. The rain becomes even gentler. Emily steps onto the covered front porch, wrapped in a warm wool blanket. She settles into the old rocking chair. Cooper curls up beside her feet. The fields stretch quietly into the evening mist. Fireflies begin appearing among the tall grasses. One by one, tiny golden lights drift through the darkness. Far beyond the hills, the distant whistle of the evening train echoes across the valley. It is a sound Emily has heard since childhood. A sound that always reminds her that home is not simply a place. Home is a feeling of comfort, kindness, and peace. She rocks gently as the rain continues its endless lullaby. Night has fully arrived. The village lights glow softly beneath the mist. The church steeple stands quietly against the cloudy sky. The old red barn rests peacefully beneath the falling rain. The creek continues its gentle journey through the valley. Every home has become warm with light. Every family has settled in for the evening. Inside the farmhouse, the fireplace glows softly. The grandfather clock marks another peaceful hour. Emily closes the curtains, blows out the candles, and whispers a quiet good night.
Outside, the rain keeps falling, steady, gentle, comforting. As you listen, imagine yourself sitting beside that warm fireplace. Feel the peaceful rhythm of the rain, the quiet countryside, the comforting warmth of home. Let every gentle sound carry away the thoughts of the day. Tomorrow, another beautiful sunrise will come to Willow Creek. Another story will quietly begin. But for tonight, simply rest, sleep peacefully, and dream of gentle rain falling across the timeless countryside of Willow Creek. Good night.